10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Coming soon. Snake River Manufacturing is developing a revolutionary new way to design and build a custom kayak trailer. This modular design lets you customize your trailer one piece at a time, allowing you to grow as you go.
You know, a lot of folks think gorillas can't read. But when the magazine's this good, even I had to subscribe.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me with episode 41 of the Kayak Cafe. Excuse me. I'm coming off a sinus infection, so I'm trying to stay in the zone. I also have the nice radio voice thanks to this nose issue. So this week we have a great guest. It's an amazing content creator. We're going to go over some of the ins and outs of the industry and what she does to make things happen. But first, this episode is brought to you by Snake River Manufacturing. If you go to snakerivermanufacturing.us, you can see all of the kayak trailers that Steve and the crew are putting together. They're amazing kayak trailers to get you to and from the lake in style, especially to and from. That's the key part. So, and this episode is brought to you by Viking Kayaks. Go to vikingkayaks.us and check out vikingkayaksusa.com and check out all of their paddle kayaks and what they have to offer there. They've got some great seaworthy options for you. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in our guest. And tonight we have Snookie with Snookie Fishing. Hello, how are you?
Hi, how's it going?
Going great. I got a little jumbled and trying to move everything around, so I think I'm back on track. But so I was given a brief intro for everyone as to what you do and who you are. But if you wouldn't mind, for those that don't know you, can you give a brief introduction?
Of course. So, as you all know, or if you don't know, I'm Snookie Fishing. I started my journey fishing when I was like in diapers, like specifically Mickey and Minnie Mouse diapers, running around the pond with my parents and my grandparents. And then in 2014, when my papa passed away, I had some issues with the grief and decided that maybe the best route would be to go back to that pond that my papa and I used to fish and try to like gather my feelings and my thoughts and find that positivity, because I knew that the way that I was feeling and living is not what he would have wanted for me. So I branded everything under the nickname Snookie that he gave me in 1988, and here I am today.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a fun experience being able to fish with family, and yeah, it's a good opportunity to get out on the water and share that. So, how did you get the nickname Snookie?
Everyone asks me this, and I love telling this story because I feel like my football spirit just comes to life. My mom was in the hospital room with me. I was freshly born, and my papa said, "This is my Snookie," and my mom was kind of like, "What?" But evidently, Snookie was a newspaper article that he had found, like a clipping talking about how a Snookie gives back and a Snookie is a good person and tries to just like live life to the fullest. I know that there was a lot more context into it, but
Yeah,
to keep me from crying, I won't go too deep into it, but it was really
yeah.
special. So my whole life, he always would holler from the garden, Snookie, and I just like, it stuck. So when he passed, I was like, I don't want to forget him or all the morals and values and love that he gave me all those years. So
Mm-hmm.
Snookie it is. So now when you
Snookie it
holler
is.
Snookie at a fishing show or on the water, like it means a lot more than you guys will ever know.
That's cool. Yeah, you figure with that nickname in this industry, it's like, oh, it's a saltwater, but that's it. That's interesting to know the backstory. So,
Yeah.
when
I
did you
didn't catch
realize?
my first snook until like 2 years ago anyways. Everybody always thought it was like snook
Hmm.
fishing or something like that.
Yeah. So when did you realize that you were gonna wanted to do fishing full time, or fishing was a large part of what's going to lead to your full time?
Um, I was working full time as like an event coordinator for leadership and development courses a long time ago. And
Hmm.
one of the things that they would have us do was stand up and introduce ourselves as staff and tell one fun fact that you wouldn't think that I do. And I'd always say I love to fish. And you have to picture like this very petite girl, like dressed as a businesswoman, not really
Hmm.
necessarily in camo or anything. It just the outward appearance didn't match the passion that I had for the outdoors. And so I got a lot of feedback on that and people just didn't believe me. So I think it was a mix of that and the like grief period of like trying to figure out where I could find my inner happiness and bring that little Peter Pan back out that made my personality so special. And I think just being at that pond and finding my pawpaw and remembering everything just brought it all back together. And I was like, I need to do this more because I just wasn't. Although I was successful in making a lot of money in the corporate world, I just wasn't happy. There was something missing inside, and I just feel like life's too short to keep having a bucket list that you just dust off, and then keep writing on it, and it never amounts to anything. I didn't want to live for the weekend. I wanted to be happy every day.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of a close thing to myself too. I was an automotive technician for 20 plus years, and I hated every moment of it because no one was ever happy. You never saw people
Yeah.
happy. And then you, like you said, living for the weekend. So that's a great way to put it. So now I imagine you were a boss at the Two Truths and a Lie, like,
Yeah.
I'm this, and I'm an angler. They're like, no. So,
Yeah.
so when did you get in, like kayak fishing? When did that happen? What brought that about?
Kayak fishing, was a mix of a girlfriend introducing Vibe to me, and
Hmm.
then going through some trials and tribulations with my migraines and my balance issues, that I just found the kayak to be so peaceful. It was an awesome opportunity to really work on those skills and
Hmm.
build myself, but it also gave me a sense of independence. I no longer had to rely on my buddies with the big glitter boats or the big saltwater boats to, show me where the fish are and have that luxury life of like, yes, I'm on the water and I can do all the rigging and stuff my own, but they would operate the boat. Well, now it's like, hey, you're out there on your own. You got to figure it out. You have to find a way to read the land because I don't have electronics on any of my kayaks. So it was just an opportunity of independence that I really found peaceful.
Awesome. So, what was your first kayak? Do you remember what the first one was that you had?
Was the Sea Ghost.
The Sea Ghost.
Yep.
What are you in now?
I have a ton of kayaks now. I'm kind of spoiled with them.
Yeah.
But I
You
think
know
my
you know some people. You know some
yeah,
people.
I do. I do. I'm very
Mhm.
blessed. But I think the Cabera is my favorite for sure.
Mm, yes. I had a Shearwater 125 for a while, and I absolutely loved it. It was a beautiful thing to paddle. I could get where I wanted to go really quickly. So,
Right?
um, yeah, I've enjoyed the Vibe platform, and um, it's worked out well for me when I had it. So, um, do you have any like amazing stories that have happened while fishing? Because I know that I've shared one before where I was with a family friend, and I hooked into a fish that took a leader, and he was complaining about it. We came back to that spot about 2 hours to 4 hours later, and the same fish hit the anchor line and broke the leader off, and
Oh my gosh.
basically was tired of hearing him talk about that leader. Do you have any like cool stories that have happened while you've been out?
I have a ton, but I think one that stays in my memory is me and my buddy Bruce. If you guys follow me, Brucey is my fishing partner. He is by far one of my best friends in the industry and just like God sent family member. But we were fishing out on one of his little secret honey holes,
Hmm.
and he had cast it out and caught a fish, didn't know really what it was, and it broke off his lure. And then I was like, oh, well, you know what, old man, picking on him. I'm like, I got you. I'm going to go get that fish. And he's like, no, you won't. We're sitting there like
Hmm.
bantering on the front of the boat. and then I cast out, and it was just crazy. I ended up catching it. It was a pickerel, it wasn't a bass. But when I got the pickerel back in the boat, it had his lure in its mouth. So he was just so excited that I got his lure back because he really wanted that jerk bait.
Yeah, those moments they're kind of crazy. Like,
Yeah.
especially when you call it, I'm gonna
Oh
do
yeah,
this.
I wish I had the GoPro running for that one.
So at what point did you start creating content while fishing? Because I know that's like the zen moment, if you will, of being on the water sometimes can be interrupted by the camera.
Right.
So at what point did you decide to transition over?
Yeah, I think honestly, like the minute you turn that GoPro on, the fish like die. Like they just
Hmm.
sink to the bottom and they don't want anything to do with you. That's been an ongoing joke with Bruce and I for many years. But I'm not 100% sure when it clicked, but it was kind of like when I was doing those courses and working full time, and anytime I
Hmm.
got a chance to leave after work and find a local pond, I started taking pictures to send it to report back to my parents and just be like, "Hey mom, dad, like look what I caught," and just keeping that relationship alive with them. And then I
Hmm.
started posting to Instagram and it just kind of took off. Like I wasn't quite sure if I was, quote, a content creator back then, but then
Hmm.
whenever I started working the shows and started hearing, about people telling me, like, "I'm going through a hard time, and your content made me laugh because it was real life," or, "Hey, my daughter follows you, and I appreciate you posting content, in the way that you do so that she has someone to look up to," it just clicked. It was like, "Okay, these amazing people follow me for a reason and I need to keep sharing this." And I think that's when it started, you know, clicking to, hey, pack the GoPro or hey, turn your phone on when you're out there because you might touch somebody else's life. And
Hmm.
that to me was precious. It kind of kept me going.
That's yeah, that's a hard thing to, in my opinion, it's a hard thing to wrap your head around when you determine that you are more than just having fun taking pictures. You may be
Yeah.
influencing people. I'm not an influencer, but I posted a video that got some views. It was called "Fat Man Getting in a Kayak." I'm just saying, and a lot of the comments were, "What kayak is that?" Because they were also of a larger size, and they wanted to know, you know, how did you do that? And how did you not fall in? And, some even that were joking were still, their comments had merit behind it, if you will. Like, I can't believe that you did that and this didn't happen. What
Right.
kayak is that? So, um, have you been had to navigate the line of positivity and negativity when you're going through? Have you
Every day.
experienced that every day? Yeah. And
Every day.
it's kind of crazy to see the way some people are just out to get you, and then some are just out to lift you up higher than anything you've ever seen. So,
I
but
am blessed to have like a really good network behind me. And
mhm,
I do the best that I can to try to make sure my content is family friendly, is something that can make you laugh. And if you can't relate, it's not something that's like gonna grab you where you feel like you have to say something. It's you can scroll, like it's okay. um, but every day it's always a challenge because as an individual, I don't know if I'm inside my thoughts and I'm like, well, I think this is funny, but it might offend somebody, or it could be something as simple as like just because I do it a certain way, fishing where I'm fishing, maybe up north they do it differently, or just like conservation issues. Like there's always something that can be a
mhm,
trigger. And it's just the bottom line is like, how do you receive that feedback and what do you do with it? And just try to keep it in a positive light.
perfect. Alan Amick says, "I don't see you post much on Facebook anymore, or I just don't see it. I don't know if he's talking to you or me. I'm sure he's talking to you."
Probably me because I've been juggling life lately.
Hmm. Yeah, we were discussing all the hats you wear. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's get into. I know you said GoPro. So when you first started, did you start with GoPro, or was it just phone pics and phone videos, or
It was
what was
all the iPhone.
iPhone?
Um, I don't know if it's the ADHD or just like that fast lane life, but for some reason, learning the GoPro was a little bit overwhelming for me at first.
Hmm.
It just the convenience of the phone was easy, and then Bruce and I sat down one day and we went through all the GoPro attachments and figured it out and started putting it on the Yolatech and got the boat hooked up, and then it became more seamless to just turn it on and just be ourselves. But at first, it was definitely all phone.
Now, are you like myself? Because we did a little like a show and tell before. are
Yeah.
you are you equipment heavy in that you are always looking for the newest attachment, or are you content with what you basically have? You
It
know?
depends on the day.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just left, like, a big summit, and so now I want, like, all the gear. I love gadgets as it is,
Hmm.
whether it's lights or attachments or kinda cool stuff that's off the grid. I'm very much, into the tactical look too.
Hmm.
So, for me, if I see something on TikTok, I'm like, "Oh, I really wanna put this in my cart," but I know I shouldn't not because I already have, like, 20 tripods. I don't need another one.
Oh yes, yeah. I have like we discussed, we have quite a bit of gear here in the studio, and I'm always looking at those probably the same exact reels and TikToks you are, thinking, man, I need that. Like these small rig lights. They
Yes,
just sort
those
of,
are awesome.
yeah, they just sort of keep accumulating. So now, went from the iPhone. Are you using GoPros now, or do you still do some of your content on the iPhone?
It's mostly iPhone, but I'm transitioning into the GoPros because 'cause I'm
Mhm.
realizing the iPhone can't get all the angles that, like, the Insta360 can do or some of the
Mhm.
other, models, so I really wanna elevate my content, but I don't wanna lose sight of the purpose behind it and making people feel like they are part of this big community that I've really tried hard to build. So it's like, how do I do that? And that's going to be like my winter project of transitioning just the angles and the views and making it a little more spicy to keep up with the trends and the transitions, but still not lose sight of Snooky.
Yeah. Alvin says Bruce from TAAL Outdoors. So with your content, and I've noticed if you go back, everybody, you start at a certain level and it's like, okay, this is cool. And then 5 years down the line, it's like production level. I've noticed that your level of content creation has gotten to a whole new level. Do you um do you do all of your editing and thought processing, or storyboarding, if you will? Do you do that all solo, or do you have a team now?
It's just me.
Just you.
However, I do have to say that I have my mom and my dad who are always like, "Hey, did you think of this?" or Bruce,
Hmm.
or occasionally I have a couple photographers that will help me out with bigger projects. Like when I did the first Ford launch, I
Hmm.
had one of my girlfriends help me just because it was such a high level content client. I wanted to make sure that the content matched. But when it comes to like the daily stuff of just Snooki, yeah, that's all me.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing is when you're trying to do, if you're doing the video and like the B-roll, or you want to do like the paddling past the camera, do you have all the clamps and stuff to clamp on the trees if you do video and stuff like that?
Yes, the James River has, like, 2 of my cell phones because
Oh,
of that, exactly, of, like,
yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I think I posted on TikTok a video of us out fishing with one of my charter captains, and I've got this giant tripod with my phone, and we hit somebody's wake, and there
Hmm.
goes the tripod, and I caught it just in time right off the side of the boat. So, MagSafe is definitely kind of the gadget gear that I'm going towards. It's a little
Yes.
tighter.
Yeah, the new mag options are quite amazing, and
Yeah.
I would not think that little thing would hold on tight enough to hold a phone, but it does. It does. So, um, so let's get into the brands you represent. Do you want to talk about how many different brands you represent?
I'm losing you a little bit there. Can you still hear me
I
okay?
said, yeah, I was gonna say, let's talk about the brands you represent. Like, how many different brands do you represent?
I think right now, I would say maybe 3 or 4. I'm keeping
Hmm.
it kinda simple just because I did decide to go full on with Vibe for social media and to run their pro staff.
Hmm.
So the Snookie fishing stuff has, like, trickled down a little bit, but I'm very happy with who I have behind me, and I'm very
Hmm.
lucky to have what I have right now. So Vibe would be number 1, and I am a Ford truck ambassador as well. So those are my 2 go-to. And then I have some smaller brands throughout the industry that I'll assist when I have the extra time, like in the winter season, to do so.
Okay. Now, the reason I asked that is because my thought process, and we sort of covered it before, but I want to ask you now. When you're going out to do an event or a venture, how do you work around all of the brands? Do you go out with the intent of doing something for Vibe and then Ford and the others can tag along? Or do you do Ford and the others tag along? Or do they not play well together? That's always like it's been a question of mine because if you get 2 or 3 different bait makers, and you catch one fish on a J Bros lure and then the next one you catch on uh, uh, my brain just shut off, but another brand,
Yeah.
then um, a tactical fishing company brand, then can you talk about them at the same time? Do you ever run into those issues anywhere?
I did when I first started off, and I was doing more of the, like, product exchange or, "Hey, we'll send you this hat for free, and if you like it, post it," or, like, "This bait for free, post it," kinda stuff. And then it just got to the point where I realized that, like, the mortgage wasn't getting paid, bills were backlogged, and, yeah, I was building my brand, and it was great, but it wasn't taking care of outside of sticky fishing.
Hmm.
So at that point, I realized, like, hey, it's not to be disrespectful to anyone or to be rude, but I have, like everyone else, to pay the bills. I have to do what I have to do. So I started like focusing more on what was the purpose of Snookie fishing and what content did I want to put out to drive that purpose and what brands could back that. So it was just like redefining the key points to figure out where I wanted to go with my media strategy. And that's why I like who I have behind me now because they're willing to, do
Excuse me.
focus on my kids' events, or they're willing to accept my content that's women empowerment and stand behind everything that I worked so hard to build.
I think this is Bruce, isn't it? It says, "What is the next adventure you want to do?"
I'll come see you, Brucey. That's what that is.
Oh man. Um, uh, One second. Yeah, I've got a tickle in my throat, and it's just totally bugging me. So I apologize for that.
It's
Um,
okay.
so now, I know what you're talking about, making the transition from being I got a hat. Let's talk about a hat.
Yeah.
How how hard was it? How hard was it for you to make that not only decision but voice that decision to the brands? Because I've received some information and items from people through the magazine, and they say you can only talk about this item, and I'm like, well, I'm a magazine. If other people have products, I have to write about them. I can't just write about you. It's not
Right.
your magazine. And they were able to take those contracts or agreements back and then nullify that section. But was it a hard decision for you, or were you just basically line in the sand, whatever happens?
It was a lot of late night calls with family and friends, a lot of tears, a lot of confusion. Like, I mean, I'm going to be as honest with you as I can. Like, it wasn't something where it was like, okay, I just put a new contract together, have AI check it, and, I'm
Hmm.
big and bad and I can do whatever I want now. No, because it was like realizing that these individuals in these companies, although they might have sent you a hat for free and you posted it, they still shared it. So you still got something out of it. It was never just for like total trade. You gained insight on how to take those photos. You challenged yourself, and without those products, you wouldn't have grown. So it was really hard to figure out, like, who do I tell no to, or
Hmm.
how do I say no, or how do I justify what's worth my time and what's not? Because I'm not a mean person in the sense, like, all these people
Right.
mean something to me. It's a step in my journey. It's not a step in the sense that, like, "Oh, well, you're in my past now, I don't need you." It's like, no, I still that holds value to me. So trying to figure out how to say that and say no, or open other doors was really challenging. And one of the things that I had talked to a buddy of mine about, just like straight up, hey, can I just have my little like fit and cry and like tell you all my feels and you help me navigate it? And Bruce was one of them. And Bruce and I had put our heads together and said, there's other ways that we can work together to make sure that the smaller companies don't get left behind, because they're just as important as the bigger box companies. And how
Hmm.
do we figure that out? And one way we did it was like, you have the next upcoming anglers, and those ladies that are in your high school teams or your college teams are going to need that exposure. Maybe it's not that I'm closing the door as much as I'm
Hmm.
saying, hey, right now I don't have the time for it, but here's a list of other ladies that are looking for jobs and might be willing to work with you to do that kind of stuff. And that really helped a lot, because I think that those companies appreciated the fact that I put the time instead of just closing the door. And then I'm also helping the community that helped me get the following that I have. So it all came together. It's really pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's good that it worked out, because that was a fear of mine. Like I'm a relative nobody. Not that I'm anybody now. It's like in the world, I'm on the radar, but it's like on the outskirts of that big circle. But when you make those decisions, I mean, it's sort of like you have to be ready for um, the consequences,
Pushback. Yeah.
the pushback, the consequences, but also be strong in your resolve that you're doing it for a good reason. So let's see here. See the comment where you can only use that one product and not something similar. Yeah, I've seen that before, where a company says you can only use their product, but I feel like that's sort of it's not necessarily, in my opinion, great for the brand of that product. But also, if you agree to do it, you just have to do it. I mean, if you sign up, you sign up. I don't think it's fair to sign up for something like that and then badmouth them if you decided to do that. But um, oh, so with your with your content creation and all of your growth, have you um, reached a point where you are settled, like you're not searching for new stuff, like you're just, I've got what I want? Like where are you in the comfort level, if that makes sense? Because are you still searching, or are you settled, or
I think that I will always be looking, but I'm
Mhm.
very much a prey on it kind of person, where it's like I know that I can only take on so much at one time. So I'm very patient, and when things are presented to me, and
Mhm.
I always redefine it back to like, what is Snookie? What is the purpose? What is this going to do for the people that have been there since I was that girl, standing by the pond with my little fish, very small, posting it, and they were still cheering me on. It wasn't like this big brand backing me up and me doing all this fun stuff all over the states. Like it's just, how do I figure that out, I guess. But when it comes to like looking for stuff, I like I said, I just kind of like, Lord, if it's meant to be and you think that I can do something through this, then send it my way. I'm ready. Or hey, I'm listening to you, and your patience is reminding me that I might not be ready for this, and I want to make sure that it all comes back to what I am and who I stand for.
That's a great mindset on that one. Yeah, because I've always wondered, like, at a certain point, do you get not really content or settled in, like a corporate world? You've got a job, you're fine. At a certain level, like in the dealership world, I had to switch jobs repeatedly to climb the ladder. Like you
Yeah.
move over here to get the raise, then you get content where you are and you sort of settle in. So that's where I was. Yeah. And I imagine some things are constantly coming your way, but just not your fit, I would say.
Yeah. And it's like one of those things too where I want to keep challenging myself. I'm
Mhm.
37. I have a long road ahead and there's a lot of things that I want to do. It's just I don't want to burn myself out in the process where I can't find enjoyment in them. So when it
Mhm.
comes, we'll take it and for whatever I'm supposed to do with it, that'll be done.
So, what do you have any organizations you're in? Like, I know one of the people that are in my magazine is the Women's Fishing Federation. Are you in any of those types of organizations yourself?
I'm not currently, but I do feel like having opportunities in our industry for women is super important. So occasionally, you'll see on my social channels that like I'll put out, "Hey, my buddy is running a charter. If you ladies want to try to learn how to fish, come on out with me. This is
Mhm.
where the event is, that kind of thing." So that's kind of been what I've been doing on the side. I would eventually like to get on a higher level because I do think that women are finally being heard and seen in the industry, and I'm excited for it. So I'd love to be a part of that movement, but in a specific group, no.
Mm. Yeah, I've often wondered. I watched videos and um, listened to the terminology used, like this is the guys, and it's like it's not even seemingly geared toward the acceptance of the female angler. Some of them. Have you reached any, or have you had any situations where you have had kickback from being the lady in the room?
Yeah, I've always been like the little sister to the guys in all the groups, but there has been some events where it's like, oh, why is she here?
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, well, I like to fish too. Like, don't hate.
Yeah,
I'm very like, I get kind of shy and quiet. I'm like, I don't know about this one. But at the end of the day, I feel like telling jokes and just like laughing and joking and powering through it has been really one of my easier strategies connected. And it remind the guys that like, hey, eventually you will have a daughter or you'll know somebody that has a daughter and that daughter might like fishing. So don't be so strong against like, hey, this is the man's world because the women
yeah,
can teach their children how to fish just as much as a man can.
yeah. I see a lot of opportunities there, and I've attended a fair amount of the women's fishing federations. They have their own podcast and they go over some things, and it's interesting to watch. And um, some great female anglers have written stuff for the magazine, which I'm very appreciative for them because it gives me 4 pages that I don't have to deal with in the magazine. So they help me as much as hopefully I help them. So, but yeah, I've always wondered that because, I mean, I'm a big guy. When I show up places, like I don't have like I'm not the lady in the room, but if I walk into a room full of kayak anglers, they're all looking at me, looking like, what? He's got to be in an XTR. He's got to be in a Titanic type boat. So I just always wonder about the inclusion feeling for those types of events um, and how it can be changed in the future to be more inclusive. So, but um, you have an event coming up that we were talking a little bit about before we started. Can you give me a brief rundown of what that is and um, what it means to you?
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to try not to cry on this one too, because this one's super special. I have a kids event coming up on November 8th. I've partnered with my local Boy Scout camp that has a beautiful lake with a perfect shelter right there by the lake for the kids to fish. So it's 30 families coming out and it is all put together. Like, I don't even want to say that it's like my event because I feel like it's Snookie Fishing's community event in the sense that like all my followers have been donating baits and rods and reels and food and bubble machines and all kinds of fun stuff for the kids over the last like 2 months. And then we just come out and everybody comes to fish. The parents get to fish, the kids get to fish. And then we have a nice lunch spread with a cool candy bar that the kids love to fill up their little goodie bags. And while the parents are mingling and talking, we have a bunch of fishing theme activities to help build on those skills. So whether it's matching and understanding the fish names or casting games or things like that, how to measure a fish, there's all kinds of cool activities. So it's really fun. It's just a way that I kind of take in everything that has been given to me over these, I guess, 10, 15 years of me doing this, and just like look at the lake and be like, man, who would have thought, grieving over my grandpa's passing would turn into this, like I'm not alone and I've got an amazing family backing me up. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and if you have an Amazon wish list, correct?
I do.
And I believe if I copied it correctly, it's Snookie's Kids Fishing Day. So if they search that on Amazon on wish list, they should be able to find that, correct?
Yes, and I know Amazon's a little bit more pricey than some of like the local tackle stores and stuff. So I've told everyone, like, if you are a tournament angler and you've got a big box in your garage and your wife's like, honey, please clean this up, like, that's me. I will take it. I will gladly disperse all that into the tackle boxes because the kids and the families go home with all that gear. So the goal is, at the end of the day, I introduce fishing to you, or I remind you, maybe it's been a while since y'all have been fishing, but I want to make sure that you have the tools you need to go home. And when that spring spawn hits and y'all are out there fishing, I want to see those photos sent back to me of you guys just being a family having fun. So that's the end goal, is to make sure that I provide everything that I can to keep them fishing.
And we didn't discuss this before, but if anyone that's listening to this podcast or throughout this week until Tuesday of next week goes and purchases anything from her list, I'll put you in your own drawing for Kayak Coffee. So you guys can go in and hopefully get some cool stuff from Amazon for her kids. And then we'll put you in your own drawing for some coffee. I don't know if you drink coffee or not, but Kayak Coffee makes some amazing whole bean coffee that's beautiful. So good in there.
Yeah,
get on Amazon, search it up, and help these kids out, because I know we all carry some extra baits in our car to hand out at the boat ramp. This is a great opportunity to get in there and actually do something on a grander scale. So, yeah, you've got some cool stuff in there. I was looking. I love the fishing knots, the little cards.
yes.
If you're shown one day, you may not remember, but that'll give them something to go home and practice and have some fun with.
That's the goal, is to keep it fun. I know there's a lot of items in there that I've had some questions about, like, Snookie, why do you need this? But it's like we have such a large age group. I want to make sure maybe like a 5-year-old kid might not necessarily remember a lot of the knot tying and stuff, or understand the excitement of some of the baits he gets. But if he's got a little shark candy that, that's num for the tummy, he might come back next year. So I try to keep it fun. I think of it like since I don't have a kid myself, like a big kids fishing themed birthday party.
Yeah, my wife's a preschool teacher and a elementary school teacher. So I've been on the end of them needing things, and she does donors choose. So which is basically like she'll put out a list for people to donate to the school and to the class. So yeah, this will be a good opportunity for anyone who wants to get out there and actually do something for the kids. So, so where's the event held?
It's in Goochland, Virginia. We still have a couple spots left. There's a jot form I can send you the link for if you want to bring your kid out to fish with us. And I probably need maybe 1 or 2 more volunteers. So if anybody's available, they're welcome to shoot me a message and we can get you involved in it. And I'll definitely be sharing some small content. We want to make sure that this event is very much not about Snookie and my brand as much as it is about the community that stood behind me from day one. So it's not really a like big PR thing. You're not going to see a ton of content, but there is some families that I'm super close with that have been so kind to say, yeah, you could definitely film my kid and like use that to help get more donations for the future. So we would just want to make sure we keep it very much background or backyard, like friendly family
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
Focused on the kids.
yeah, where it should be.
Yeah. Bruce says, and try being the old guy there, but love to fish in the kayak. Yeah. So funny story. I went to a Heroes on the Water event and I just made a joke about flipping my kayak. And I believe the video is online, but this older gentleman stood there with his phone videoing me because he thought I was going to roll my kayak. And
Oh,
when I
wow.
didn't, he walked away in disgust. He was hoping, he's like, I'm going to get on AFV for sure. This guy's going to make me 10 grand. Nope. Just went on about my business. So, but it's a truly special event, and helping the kids learn to enjoy what we love is the future. That's true. Cause I've asked this a lot of a couple of other people, is how do you see the industry growing kayak wise? Because I know they've got college teams, but not a lot of high school teams that I've seen. And then even on the lower level, so like when you have the kids there for the fishing day, are you going to have some kayaks out there for them to look at and see on the water and hopefully get inspired by?
That is something that I've kind of been tossing around. This is only my second year doing this as an individual. I've done
Mhm.
events with like Cast for Kids and other organizations, but my last year was my first event and I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to create it because there's so many other events that do fishing days for kids around me.
Mhm.
So it was kind of like add a little bit of education, make it fun, but also make it kind of like family oriented. And then every year we add an element and just kind of like trying to figure out where I want that to go. So I don't necessarily have kayaks there yet, but I think maybe year 3 or 4, it might be something to introduce like a series where we do one in the spring that's a little more education focused. And then my fall event could be more about just like family fun, just getting out fishing and introducing it to kids.
Nice. Yeah, it's just one of those things where when I go on the water, I'm sorry, Bruce, but they're always the seasoned anglers that are out there, and then there's the younger level seems to be like the 30s, is not that young group coming in to like really boost up the sport. And I think that any opportunity we have to educate or inspire them into the route of a kayak versus one of those sparkly boats we discussed is a great opportunity. So, but yeah, if anybody wants to donate, I highly recommend you go do that because are these um, just anybody can join, or these families that that you've interacted with before?
It's a mix, like it's open to the public, but a lot of
Okay.
my friends in the industry do bring their kids out to like hang out and help. And it's great because those families, like my girlfriend Renee brings her daughter,
Mhm.
those kids actually end up doing more volunteer work at the event for me than they actually do hanging out, which is really sweet. And it means a lot to me to just have that support of them being there. So I'm excited. I think we have like 15 families from last year that have kind of like hinted around about like either they've registered or they might try to come, just because the date is a little bit later this year than it was last year. Last year it was October 12th, where this year it is November 8th. So it's a little bit later in the season, but we are really excited to have everybody come back out.
That's awesome. I see the barbless fishing hooks. You're preparing for potential incidents. I like that.
Try to work smarter, not harder.
Yes. Yeah. No practicing your wrap and yank on a toddler.
No, not at
Yeah.
all. But Bruce is prepared to do that. Bruce is really good with the braid.
Yeah. I could imagine he's just going to go in hot.
Yeah,
Like,
he's my EMT. He actually pulled a hook out of Harper's lip, my dog, when she was a pup. She got into my tackle box. And I was very, very impressed at how quick that old man can run. And he got those snips and took care of her so she didn't have to have stitches or anything.
Heck yeah. He didn't want to ruin his fishing day.
No.
He's like, we can get that out and stay here. Trust me.
Yep, we're good. We don't have to
We're good.
drive.
Rural Fisherman says, we know some ACA certified folks who would love to give a kayak safety lesson to your kiddos for next year. And I know a guy with kayaks.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So, so let's go back to the content area. Where do you see the path of content creation going? I mean, because there's been kind of like an evolution of what's going on. You know, there was just Instagram was the hot thing before, and now there's the reels, and now there's a huge push towards AI and adding stuff. Where do you see it going? What is your projected path of content creation in the next 5 years?
Yeah, that's actually something that I've been signing up for classes to figure out. But the last couple of summits that I've been to, it seems like a lot of people are trying to test things out and see where things are going with the AI a little bit, but also too, just attended the Ford Summit in California, and they were saying that like people didn't think that like YouTube Shorts was really gonna be a way that you could get viral and take off, that you had to do long form. And it's like, no, short form content. There are creators out there on YouTube that do specific short form content that have taken off. So that's kind of exciting for me, as you know, my content's very short form. I'm not very long form oriented, but I always wondered, like, was that going to be something that would hold me back in my content creation? And then secondly, I think that a lot of the changes like on Instagram and TikTok are more formulated towards like, how are we doing our SEO? Like, are we figuring that out through like our captions and our hashtags? No, everybody's saying hashtags are dead. It's coming through the actual words that you're saying in your videos, and they want to see you talking to your video. So as an introvert myself, sometimes a lot of my content, being that I'm doing it by myself, is like setting the phone up or the camera up and then just like standard, like, this is what I'm doing, b-roll type stuff, and then a voiceover over it or music. And I kind of figured in like over testing a lot of times that like, hey, that doesn't really take off unless it's something niche specific that like my followers could really relate to.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like starting to struggle with that. So I think that like really talking to the camera, looking at it, having the perfect lighting, the right content, and understanding what your audience needs from you and being quick with it is going to be one of the things that they're looking for in the future. But after I attend all these classes, I can definitely come back and give you some tips.
Sweet. I'll wait that text. You're like, no, that's not what you should be doing. Well, what should I be doing? Not that. I'm like, man. So, if someone were, let's say, because you're a brand, a content manager for Vibe, correct?
Yes.
So, if someone out there were not necessarily looking to get a job with Vibe, but they want to be noticed by you guys, what would someone need to do to just be on the radar?
I think the most important thing before you ever approach a company is know the product. Like, that is like one of my big things is I don't want you to send me a DM saying, "Hey, I love your product. That's so awesome. Like, can you sponsor me?" Okay, well, have you ever like fished in a Vibe kayak? Does your buddy have one? Have you seen it somewhere? Like, where is that connect? So that would be like step one. And then step two is just being really authentic and
Mhm.
relatable. I like content is now all about the shares and like how you impact people. So what can we do with you? Like, are you funny? Are you going to teach us something? Are you willing to put in the work? Like, what do you bring to the table that the brand can then support? And what are you doing outside of the brand too? Like, what do you stand for? And where are you coming from with your background and your resume?
Awesome. Yeah, that's the one thing is the people ask a lot is how do I get sponsored by, or how do I get noticed by? So I think that, like we were talking before about being genuine. You know, when I started the magazine, I basically talked to people to prove that I was a real person. You know,
Yeah.
And then I did photo sessions with local sponsored anglers, and they're like, people call me and ask me, do you know if this guy is legit from, so it's a really tight knit community. So if you're not in the circle, it's hard to get in the circle sometimes. And then once you get in the circle, it's hard to get out of the circle sometimes. So, but awesome. Well, we're coming up close to the hour mark. Is there anything that you want to hit on that we haven't touched on, or?
No, I think you've done an awesome job. I really
Thank you.
appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on. I mean, it's a huge thing that you do, and the amount of things you do, like we discussed before.
Yeah.
You wear a lot of hats, and the content creation has always intrigued me, and it's something that is very difficult to do, and you do it really well. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing a little bit of wisdom with everyone. And if anyone, like I said, if anyone out there wants to do something good for anyone, go to Snookie's Kids Fishing Day. Google that on Amazon and pick up a couple tackle boxes for these kids. I think it'd be a great opportunity to give back. So, but yeah, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. I got my ADHD kicked in. We talked about that. So
No, I feel at home. I love this because I always squirrel.
Yep.
It's her like distracting me and everything, so it's fine. I really appreciate everything. I think it's been great. I just want to say, like, if there's anyone out there that's watched this and they have questions that I maybe needed to elaborate on, or some things that you're interested in, I'm always available. You can just shoot me a DM, and I'll do the best I can to answer it. And if I don't know the answer, I will connect you with one of my friends who does.
Perfect. And thank you again for coming on and sharing. And what I'll do is I'll put you in the back for a second. I'll say goodbye to everyone, and now bring you back in. What's it? I see a great show. Harbor says, "Mama, you said Uncle Brucey."
I did.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. I'm going to put you in the back room, and I'll be right back. All right. That was episode 41 with Snookie Fishing. I apologize. I've got some cough issues that are really kicking in strong, and I apologize for that. This episode is brought to you by Snake River Manufacturing. Go to snakerivermanufacturing.us and look at all of the kayak trailers that Steve and his crew have put together. The trailers are amazing. They're beautiful designs, and they are one of the best trailers to get you to and from the lake in style and security. Excuse me. This episode is also brought to you by VikingKayaksUSA.com. Go check them out. They've got some great paddlecraft to get you out in the waves. And they are here in the U.S., so you can actually get one fairly quickly. So also go to kayakcoffee.com if you're in the market for some beautiful coffee, and use Cafe20 code for 20% off, as well as go to Facebook and search Nico's Art Therapy. Nico's Art Therapy has the exclusive rights to this cup. Every single sale, 100% of the proceeds go to Nico and his therapy. All right. That was a mouthful. I appreciate you all hanging out with me. Appreciate everything you guys have done. Don't forget to go to Snookie's Kids Fishing Day and pick up every single thing that's in here for these kids so that they can have a wonderful day on the water. So I look forward to seeing you all next week for episode 42. And hopefully I feel better and you feel better. And